know that you already said this is not the right question we should be asking you, but we want your 30-second definition of evidence-based design. What is it? What's evidence-based design?
Well, as you know, I've written more than one definition of evidence-based design, and I think the serious version is to say that it's a variant of the models that are published about evidence-based medicine, which is to say it's the use of credible and relevant research evidence and information that's found from observation in the field to influence decisions made about unique projects by the designers and their clients. And so I've written versions of that that keep changing from year to year to year. But the simple definition is architects and designers using credible research evidence to improve the quality of their designs. It's that simple. Where do you take the influences for your design concepts? Where do you find these things? We've always found a variety of inspirations and resources. Today's language of evidence-based design has become the buzzword that is unfortunate in many ways. Part of the implication is that, oh, well, designers haven't been using evidence before 1992. That's not true. Architects and engineers and designers have consistently been using evidence for centuries, based on the science of engineering, based on structure and mechanics and weather conditions and the migration of moisture. We have a long tradition of using real estate economics and other sources of evidence in our practice.
So what's different now?
Well, today we're now talking about using evidence from different constituencies. So as an architect, I was never trained to use clinical evidence or work that might have come from medicine or nursing. I was not even really trained to use any of the social science evidences about management organization theory. So all of those things are now fair game. The domains of evidence that are available to influence design are virtually infinite. Almost any source of credible evidence can influence a design concept depending on what the need of that particular project is in the particular circumstances.
What makes it unique in healthcare? Why is it so important to healthcare?
It's important to healthcare because the stakes are so high. We're talking about life or death. We're talking about the question of whether or not the physical design of the environment can contribute to the safety of patients and staff members. We're talking about a situation in which the risk is ever higher because of resistant strains. We can no longer use the magic pill of penicillin or something to eliminate infections. It used to be that we had miracle drugs that allowed us to overcome infection. And so from World War II on, those drugs essentially allowed us to correct any minor errors we might have had that allowed people to become infected in healthcare settings. And we got fantastic results. But now that the bugs are resistant to those drugs, people are not necessarily being healed as a result of that, and so we now have to have more defenses against infection and against a variety of other safety issues like falls and back injuries from staff and so forth. And all of those have some environmental aspect that makes a big difference. So the reason it's important is because stakes are high. The other reason is has nothing to do with the clients and the people who are in those buildings. It has to do with the profession of architecture. I think it's fair to say that architects have been losing credibility in the marketplace because their clients and the business world generally believes that architects don't have sufficient credibility with financial information, and as a result of that, architects over the last half century excuse me, have had less and less influence in the marketplace, and they've seen portions of their work be shed to others who are somehow protecting the owner from the flightiness of the architects. I say that a big piece of that is the absence of rigor in architecture. Architects all too easily turn to my aesthetic judgment. It needs to be this way because I'm experienced as an architect. I say it, so do it my way. Rather than saying, I have solid evidence that if you do it this way, it will produce outcomes that are meaningful to your organization. If that's true, then architects in the future who fail to use evidence-based process are potentially subject to continued decline in their credibility and their continued diminution of their influence in the marketplace. And those architects who are using a higher level of rigor and who are subjecting their designs to an evidence-based review are likely to have increased capability and increased power in the marketplace. So I believe that for the architect, regardless of whether it's healthcare or some other building type, the potential to increase rigor within the profession is a powerful piece of what evidence-based design is about.